Hello, everyone. I'm City of Las Vegas Communications Director David Riggleman. Thanks for joining us for Access City Council. Coming up on this show, an update on the future plans for Huntridge Circle Park, and we introduce you to the city's new Chief of Public Safety. Of course, the councilwoman who represents Ward 3 is Olivia Diaz, and she joins me now. Welcome back, Councilwoman. How are you?
It's always great to be here with you, David.
Thank
and
you
it
so
turns
much,
around so quick.
It does. That 6 weeks goes by quick, doesn't
Absolutely.
it?
And so before we're talking summer, now we're going to be talking back to school.
I know. It's incredible. It just goes poof.
Yes, time flies when you're having great times here in the city.
Exactly. A lot going on. And so we have a big update from Ward 3 for you today. First of all, if you're not exactly sure where Ward 3 is located, well, don't worry. We're going to show you on the map where it is. It's basically the east side of the city of Las Vegas, also encompasses a lot of our downtown. That area in blue is Ward 3. If you live in that area or work in that area, then you are in the city limits of the city of Las Vegas. And of course, if you are a resident there, you are represented on the city council by Councilwoman Olivia Diaz. You're an old veteran now of the city council all of a sudden.
It doesn't feel that way. Every day I'm learning something new and different, but that's the excitement of working in local government. So
you have a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of passion, and that obviously has shown in your job here as councilwoman for Ward 3.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about one of the things that you heard about right off the bat in being elected was Huntridge Park. Folks, some background on the park. It's in an area where we had some trouble over there. We had some homeless people. There was some violence in the park that escalated. It was very tragic.
Former Councilman Gary Reese had to close it down. Then my predecessor, Councilman Coffin, also got elected, reopened it. Towards the end of his tenure as a councilman, also closed it. And it's been something that's been at the top of my constituents' minds. What are we doing to move the park forward? And so we started the community conversation. We had that meeting that we talked about in Last Access. Where was the appetite in the community? Did we want to see it back open? Do we want it to remain closed? And it seems like overwhelmingly everyone agrees that we need to open it. Now we're thinking about how and when and what will be part of the reopening of the park. So just wanted to give an update to folks that we're still working on it. We're trying to secure the best architect to give us some renderings and options to the community. And upon having that firm contracted, then we'll schedule the next follow-up once they have some work to show and showcase to the community for input.
And if you guys have thoughts, input in the meantime, Councilwoman is always open to hearing your ideas. Before the end of this program, we'll tell you how to reach the Councilwoman's office, and if you have some thoughts on what the park should look like, or if it should open at all.
What it should incorporate, please make us aware, because I know we heard a lot about physical fitness, having a place to walk. We heard about activation. We heard about dog park. So we're trying to hear everything so that this new firm that will get contracted will have all of the things that are top priority for the community.
Sounds good. So stay tuned for that, everyone. And then this is exciting. You know, during the pandemic, small businesses struggled. Some didn't even make it. But it's always exciting when we can talk about a business that opens. And you've got a new gym, a fitness center that opened called Fenzo?
Yes, it's called Fenzo. And so we met Lorenzo, who's the fitness instructor for Fenzo, and he opened this location off of Owens and Marion just a little before you hit Lamb. And we met Lorenzo when we were doing park cleanup. So he was doing his outdoor physical fitness classes at a Freedom Park. And now he was able to secure a location in Ward 3. So we're so happy. Congratulations, Lorenzo. And we're happy you made Ward 3 your home.
Yeah, exactly. Best of luck with your new business. We hope it's a win-win all the way around, because people are going to get fit going there. And
and stronger, because there's nothing that can help us fight this virus that's around, but being very physically fit and healthy. So he's doing his part. We need to step in there and do our part, because we don't get fit just watching him. We got to get in there and hopefully take some of his classes.
Sounds good. Well, good luck to him, and welcome to the neighborhood, so to speak. And then, Councilwoman, you posted this on Facebook. This is what everybody's been talking about here at City Hall. The City of Las Vegas has received $130 million in funding that must be spent by December 31st, 2024. And of course, you're talking about the American Rescue Plan. we've got a lot of money that needs to be spent, and people need to let us know if especially if they're eligible.
Absolutely, and we've been on a listening tour with the county commissioners, so we held a date there at the East Las Vegas Library to hear from folks and what areas. A big need that's being spoken to is mental health in our communities, so make sure that you fill out the survey so that we make informed decisions as to what our folks need for us to really be studying and analyzing and making concerted efforts and investments into, right? There's also the hardest hit communities, and we need to make sure that we're doing our due diligence to make sure that we're creating a plan that puts them on a path forward out of COVID.
And help, that's the whole idea, is to give the community, many communities, a lift out of this pandemic.
We do have a survey, so make sure that if you haven't told us how we should be investing the money in our community, that you guys hop onto our survey. It's online.
It's on our website, LasVegasNevada.gov. /ARP, American Rescue Plan. You'll be able to find it on there. It's right on the front page right now.
And then another thing to look for, if you're a nonprofit or you're a business owner that wasn't able to get very much funding under you to kind of survive through pandemic times, we're also taking applications from nonprofits and businesses that have struggled, that need the financial support of the city through the American Rescue Plan. So make sure you look out for that application. That one's due August 14th. It's right around the corner. So important that you guys apply for these funds if you're in need.
Yeah, that's very important. And again, we understand this show airs over a course of a week, so some of you may be seeing this after the fact. Hopefully many of you will see it before the deadline, and you'll be able to get that information in and take a look at it. Again, it's on our website. A lot of great information there, and there are funds available. Many people are going to qualify here. So.
Our mission is just to provide relief where most of the relief is needed, and potentially they never got any. So
right. Exactly right. So visit our website, LasVegasNevada.gov, and get started with that. Of course, Councilwoman's office too. If you have any questions before the end of the show, tell you how to get in touch with her team, and they'll help you through that as well. Councilwoman, I love this too. You had a community town hall with the trustees from the school district here right before school started.
Obviously, the county received some monies, the city received some monies, and the school district also received some monies from the federal government through this American Rescue Plan. And we were there on Saturday, August 7th, taking input from our community, because we know that our English language learners didn't get that face-to-face instruction. It's hard when your first language isn't English and to completely be virtual and not have the supports that you can usually lean on and like watch what your peers are doing and watch all the physical cues in front of you. So some of our kids may be further behind in terms of their academics. So we wanted to hear again from our community, how can we help your kids now that they're coming back to school? And there's $778 million that the Clark County School District will be receiving in terms of ARPA monies. And again, they're going to probably get it in 2 shots as well. But we need to hear from our entire community what are good ways to invest our monies to help our kids and meet them where they are.
And Councilwoman knows what she's talking about in this area because she's a former teacher, and so this is her thing, and she knows what she's talking about.
Absolutely. 17 years in elementary school, so I'm thinking a lot of extracurricular programming, tutoring, because that's the best way to get our kids caught up, is meet them where they are, and hopefully during the school day they'll get what grade level they're in, but hopefully after school they can get a boost of what the gaps that they're missing and kind of filling in those gaps.
And that's what the city's trying to do too, through our Safe Key programs, through our Reinvent School programs. We're not going to try to be the school district. Obviously, that's their job. But the before school care, the after school care, that's where we can help.
We can definitely step in and support the work of the classroom teacher, and where the classroom teacher can tell us where the child's we can hopefully help push the child along that learning continuum, whether it's math or reading or writing.
It's exciting, and I think there's nothing that makes a child feel better, I think, just my own experience, my children's experience, when they succeed in school. When
Absolutely.
They succeed.
If you're floundering or you're feeling like you're less than adequate in school, then your appetite for being there continues to go downward. And what we want is our children to feel like they're doing well, that they're successful, and that school is a place for them to be.
Yeah.
We want that. They want to be, just part of it and not feel like they're just beyond their wits' end.
And I think it also impacts their self-image of themselves.
Absolutely.
When they
Confidence. Their confidence is very, very crucial and instrumental in their learning and wanting to continue to stay the course with us. So that's why no one knows our kids like we know our own kids, right? And so we did hear in that town hall, mental health is a big concern, English language learners or special needs kids, because the virtual worked for some of our learners, it didn't work for all of our learners.
So many parents talked about that. So many students talked about that. It's like some loved it, some hated it. And
then some of our high schoolers had to step up and kind of put school on the back burner because they had to work to help, kind of provide income for their families to make it through, because maybe their parents were unemployed, and so maybe they had to go seek employment. And so there's all of these very complex issues and moving parts, and I hope that the trustees took away. I know they were taking copious notes, and
that's great. Good for them.
They're gonna make sure that that's all part of their plan moving forward.
You had a good turnout on a Saturday right before school, too.
I know. And we raffled some gift cards at the end, too. We're looking to do hopefully a second one in the next week or so at another high school. And
very good.
This time, hopefully, because people are excited about getting back to school, we'll get even more input.
Sounds good. We'll talk about this. This is really important. You posted this on Facebook. You said Las Vegas Boulevard construction continues. Yes, it does. And anybody who's driven on Las Vegas Boulevard certainly knows that there is some work going on there.
There is on the boulevard, all the way from Sahara, heading north to Stewart. The great thing is we're making Las Vegas Boulevard more walkable from Sahara to Stewart. We're widening sidewalks. We're going to add more diversity in our landscaping so it'll look green and lush. We'll get some shade in the summer months when we're walking down the boulevard. But most importantly, too, we're doing a lot of amazing upgrades to all the infrastructure along there, like sewer lines, internet, anything that any company who wanted to come in and do upgrades. I believe there's really old stuff that we found along the Las Vegas Boulevard.
Old,
that
40,
was
50 years old.
Overdue is the word for infrastructure upgrades. And so we'll have an amazing new street to cruise down, but we're about halfway there. April of 23 is about when we're...
Circle that on the calendar.
Yes, and hopefully sooner. If we've been able to move through this pandemic at a faster pace, maybe, but by April 23, we're hoping that we deliver a completely renewed Las Vegas Boulevard for you all. And it's one of the most significant investments of funds we've done on a road. I believe $130 million, right?
That's right. And it's one of the biggest construction projects in the city's history, if not the biggest. So
we know orange cones, very painful, slows down your commute, but just give yourself those extra 15, 20 minutes if you know you have to cross through the boulevard. I know I avoid it as much as I can, but sometimes you're going to an address on the boulevard. So just give yourself a little extra time.
I don't want to jinx it, but so far the project has been right on schedule. And hopefully it stays that way. And by me saying this, I hope it doesn't go sideways. But it's been very good, and they've met every.
We'll have to see. I mean, we've been seeing our economy is coming back pretty well. We have seen tourism come back to our city, and that's encouraging, and that's an awesome thing. So we'll just see if we have a lot of traffic and a lot of folks in. Maybe it'll bump it back a little bit, but if not, we'll stay the course.
Councilwoman, one of the projects, again, it seemed like it would never end, but it's really nice now, is the Main Commerce one-way. Commerce goes south, Main comes north, and that's a very nice corridor now, going in either direction.
Absolutely.
painful getting there, but it turned out very, very well.
Yes, and now a lot of folks during the pandemic kind of went to Main Street for those bike rides, to walk, to just cruise it, because we incentivized them to like board it up with some art, and it became a place, I think, where people felt like they could be outdoors and they could kind of benefit from all the art that was around. And so I know that it had a wonderful impact there. And I know that especially the festoon lighting at night,
beautiful
on Main Street. So I'm sure that Vegas Boulevard will be equally as beautiful.
I think so too. I think so too. And if you haven't checked out that area of the Arts District that Councilwoman's talking about, boy, you should really come visit. It's very, very nice.
So those of us that are native Vegans, Main Street may not bring good memories to you from yesteryear, but it's truly evolved and taken off, and we have so many amazing eateries and brew pubs and places to be, and especially as adults, if you want to get away a bit from your kids and have a date night,
there's plenty
it's a
places.
really great place to hang out.
All in Ward 3 too, so I know that you love that. And then Councilwoman, we touched on this, our back to school fair. You had a back to school fair that took place Saturday, August 7th as well, and this was an exciting event. You had scads of vendors come and participate in that, didn't you?
Yes, we did. So first and foremost, thank you to Credence for helping us organize such an amazing back to school fair with all the community partners that came on board. There we're seeing Variety School that started a painting project for kids with autism. And we had our East Las Vegas Ballet Folklorico, little ones from like 6 years old or 7 years old to about 10. They danced. It was their first performance. There were haircuts being provided free of cost. A lot of school supplies, a lot of backpacks. Thank you to East Las Vegas Community Center and Stupac for uniting forces. It seems like Stupac had some leftover backpacks and we were in need of backpacks. So I want to say thank you to Stupac for sharing their resources to make sure that we met the needs of the entire community. And then we were offering COVID vaccines as well from 11 to 3 at East Las Vegas on Saturday. Probably did close to 100.
That's awesome.
Through the whole shift. And thank you to Immunize Nevada and Touro University students and the doctor for being there on site.
We had a good turnout, it looked like, for that as well.
We did. We had about 300-ish. And then on their way out, they got a nice, cool popsicle, compliments of Ward 3
You needed a popsicle
team.
on that Saturday. It was hot out there.
There were delicious ones. There was watermelon flavored, lime flavored. I got a rice pudding one.
Nice.
It was delicious.
Nice. Yeah, you got to keep that in mind. You know, there's always good eats at those things. So. Well, Councilwoman, we need to take a short break right now, but when we return, our new City of Las Vegas Public Safety Chief shares his plans and ideas to keep our community safe. That's next, so please stay with us.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
Welcome back, everyone. The City of Las Vegas recently welcomed a new public safety chief. Chief Molina joined the city back in January, and he's with us now to talk about what his department is doing. Councilwoman, I know you're very excited because Chief Molina brings a great degree of experience with him into this job.
Absolutely, and we know, David, that survey after survey, the residents of the city of Las Vegas tell us public safety is at the top of their mind, and so I'm so excited we have someone with his depth and breadth of experience in public safety coming to kind of look at our city with that experience and offer us course corrections and pathways to our future. So. Chief, can you tell us about all the amazing work you're doing currently in your role as our chief?
Sure. So the Department of Public Safety has 3 business units that provide services to the city. The first one is animal control, and recently the council just passed some ordinance to help ensure more protection for our pets. So for tethering, we know that you can't tether a dog for more than 10 hours in a 24-hour period, and we can't have a dog tethered when the National Weather Service issues a heat advisory. In addition to that, the other part of the ordinance that the council updated was that if the temperature is expected to go to 105 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, pet owners, predominantly dog owners, have to make sure that they're providing a cooling system for their pet. That could be a swamp, water misters, or air conditioning. The Department of Public Safety also has the city's jail. So we provide services to those that are incarcerated, that have been sentenced and are in the custodial custody of the city's jail for Las Vegas, and as well as our marshals. So our marshal service, our public probably interacts with the most, and our marshals provide public safety patrol services in our city's parks, our city's facilities, and our tourist corridor in Fremont Street. So for Ward 3, we have 16 parks in Ward 3 and 38 facilities in the ward. So our marshals are patrolling these areas 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Chief, that's a great thing to touch on. I think some people get a little confused the difference between our city marshals and Metro Police. And I think kind of help people get their bearings a little bit. Our folks are going to patrol, as you said, the city facilities, but Metro is going to take care of the rest of the jurisdiction, right?
Absolutely. So Las Vegas Metro Police Department is our primary law enforcement department for the county, which obviously includes the city of Las Vegas. Our marshals are also trained police officers, but they're limited duty police officers with jurisdiction over city facilities, city parks, and the Fremont Street experience from Main Street to Las Vegas Boulevard. We also patrol.
Yeah. Councilman, I know one of the reasons that you were very excited to see Chief Molina get hired, as we talked about this, is his breadth of experience. Mm-hmm. And maybe we should ask him a little bit about that. I mean, I think that's one of the things that I think we were also impressed, Chief, with your resume when you came here to the city. You're someone who's been out there doing that in a variety of ways, and now you're working with us. We're excited for that. So
can you share a little bit of your experience and where you come from?
Sure, thank you. So I relocated my family and I from New York City, and where I was last posted was I was the first deputy commissioner for the Westchester County Department of Corrections, which is one of the larger jail systems in New York State. But I've been in law enforcement for over 20 years. I've had the benefit of having worked in policing, retired from the NYPD. I've worked in corrections, working both for Westchester County, my last position, and with the New York City Department of Corrections. And I've also worked in the district attorney's office. I was a deputy chief of the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office. So I've been fortunate to work in our three main pillars of our criminal justice system. And I've also worked with vulnerable populations when I oversaw the Department of Homeless Services for New York City's police department that oversaw our shelter system. So just had a varied experiences within our criminal justice system. So I come to the city with just fresh eyes and really helping to replicate best practices that I've done and implemented in other jurisdictions.
And David, Chief Molina and some marshals were at our back to school fair this past Saturday. And so talk about in a time when we really do need to foster those ties and make sure that our community has the opportunity to meet our men and women in uniform, not just when they are having a bad day and are coming across them, but also fostering that trust and that relationship so that we respect each other. And we acknowledge, we have different roles and sometimes we're on opposite ends, but I love that he's supporting his team to ensure that relationship is fostered within our community.
Chief, that's such a good point that the councilman makes, that community-oriented policing where you establish a relationship with the community versus, as the councilwoman says, when there's a confrontation or there's a problem. And you guys have really done a great job at working on that.
No, for sure. I mean, public safety is a complete stakeholder responsibility, which includes the community and us. So for us, community engagement equals public safety. So the public will start to see more of our marshals. We've increased our patrols in our parks, both when our parks are open and when our parks are closed. And we encourage the public to come up to our marshals and strike up a conversations. Our marshals will be doing a lot more of that in the public as well. So we're very committed to increasing the relationship between the community and us at the Department of Public Safety.
Chief, I know that the councilwoman is high on education. As we mentioned earlier in the show, she's a former teacher. I'm going to let you toot your own horn here. You also have a very impressive academic resume as well. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that? You're not just an experienced police officer, you're also a very educated police officer as well.
No, thank you for that. I mean, I've been very fortunate. I got my undergraduate degree at Chaminade University using the military GI Bill. So I was on active duty in the Marine Corps from 1991 to 1995. And when I joined the NYPD, I was fortunate to get a scholarship to study at Columbia University's graduate school, where I studied human rights, while at the same time received tuition assistance funding to get an additional master's degree at Marist College to study public administration. And I think education is really valuable. And as a member of, a minority community, I want to do the best I can to sort of represent young people and mentor young people. Just recently, I was awarded a scholarship to attend Harvard Business School's General Management program. So we're really at a point where if we're going to advance policing and public safety, then we need leaders in these positions to not only have experience in this field, but also the business skills necessary to help evolve policing in general.
Yeah, and you heard him mention he was also a veteran too of the Marine Corps. So, Chief Molina, you are very well-rounded, and yeah, I think Councilwoman and I, we appreciate the educational side of things.
And I just want to thank him publicly for allowing to be innovative and forward-thinking, and he lets his lieutenant marshal go on ride-alongs with my staff when we get a lot of pleas for help, and we go and we try to, triage the situation and offer the best advice and the best foot forward.
Yeah.
So we really do appreciate that level of responsiveness and engagement, Chief.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's very valuable all the way around. Well, Chief, we're about out of time here. Councilwoman and I are going to let you have the final words. Anything else you'd like to add while we have you on the program? You've done a great job.
No, my family and I, my wife Shannon and I love this city. We've been acclimating very, very well. The department has accomplished a lot in the last 8 months, and we continue to want to do more. So we look forward to continue to strengthen our relationship, not only with Councilwoman Diaz and her staff, but the entire neighborhoods of the city of Las Vegas.
Well, great job, Chief. Thank you so much. Wishing you the very best of luck. As you mentioned, you've hit the ground running here. We're very glad to have you as part of the team here at the city of Las Vegas. So wishing you the best.
Thank you.
Well, Councilwoman, always a pleasure having you on the show as well. And we want to remind everybody out there, we always want to hear from you. So if there's something you'd like to share with Councilwoman Diaz, you can find her on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also contact her just by picking up the phone, 702-229-4623, or send her an email. Her address is odiaz@LasVegasNevada.gov, and she or one of her great staff will get right back to you. So, Councilwoman, great job. Always a pleasure having you on the program.
I'm a little sad that the Olympics are over.
I know. It was a lot of fun.
I just want to congratulate everyone from the Las Vegas delegation that went to represent us on the world stage. Erica Sullivan, you knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, she did.
But everyone who just went and represented in their sport, our prayers are still with Connor Fields and making sure his recovery is on the right path. But just know Vegas is so proud of you all that went. And I just am in awe of your dedication and tenacity in your sport.
Yeah,
Way
well
to
said.
go.
Very well said, Councilwoman, all the way around. And congratulations to all our local Olympians and all the U.S. Olympians for that matter. So, well, Councilwoman, great job. Folks, don't miss our next show beginning on August 19th with Ward 4 City Councilman Stavros Anthony. You can catch all of our KCLV shows on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire now. And don't forget, you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time around.